I ranked #1 on Amazon in just 24 hours with no ads budgets, no giveaway, no fake reviews, just 8 minutes of hidden SEO tweaks. I'm Sean Farrington. I've driven millions in sales for small startups as well as big brands like Disney and Nickelodeon. But I've also made my share of Amazon mistakes along the way. One was thinking that if I got my title just right, that somehow Amazon would love me and push me to the top of the rankings. So for years, I focused on cramming keywords into my titles like a caffeine-fueled college student before finals, frenzied, unstrategic, and reeking of desperation. And I'm going to let you in on what I discovered. Your keywords aren't the only thing that Amazon is watching. So I'm going to take you through the 5 levers that I found that I need to pull when I really am hungry for free traffic on Amazon. And if you stay focused, you can do all 5 so fast, some will say you're cheating. I'll let you decide if that's the case. To make it easy, I'm just going to show you what we did for 2 products that we ranked #1 in 24 hours on Amazon. One was a quirky gadget for gamers, and the other was a humble set of barbecue tongs. Both hit page 1 with nothing but these 5 tweaks I pulled from my latest resource, the Amazon SEO Secrets Black Book. It's packed with what I'm going to show you today and more. It shows you every move that my team and I use to make Amazon's algorithm finally sit up and take notice. It has checklists to make it all simple, and it's free. I'll just drop a link in the description and you can grab it. This is the stack that we're going to be going over today. And this first one down here at the most basic level is the one we're going to start with, and it's our SEO canvas. Because when I started first back in 2015 on Amazon, I thought SEO was all about text. I obsessed over titles and keywords, and until the day that I ranked page 1 without any SEO swaps at all. I remember getting the message from my close friend, a guy that I'd helped with his images, and he was shouting, "I just ranked page 1 overnight." Honestly, I was a bit baffled, but it wouldn't be the first time that this would happen. And after about the 3rd time, I finally made the connection. And no one ever said that I was the sharpest tool in the shed, but I made this connection because I forgot that Amazon tracks what happens after the shopper lands. So a shopper clicks on, usually it's the main image or the title, they click on that listing, and then Amazon not only tracks that click, but what happens after they searched and clicked. So they're not only tracking that keyword that they used to search, but they also track every time they scroll, hover, or zoom over your images. All of those actually become part of your SEO signal. And when your images drive a sale, that boom is the magic that Amazon needs to make a connection. They say, hey, this seems like a good place to send shoppers. So images are actually crucial to your SEO, but in a very specific way. And that's why instead of obsessing over what words go into my titles in the exact order, which I still do, I obsess more over what I call the SEO canvas touch-up, because I want to transform my images into algorithmic power plays. So here's the play. We're going to use essential heat map data. So we did a heat map study with our clients' top listings, and we were kind of surprised by what we saw and what we found out on that heat map study. Obviously, we thought they would start looking at things like the text and stuff like that, but they actually really were looking at images, and specific parts of the images drew their eye. So this is kind of a backup look at the heat map for one of our top performing listings. And this is one that actually went page 1, 24 hours. Literally, the owner had to stay up all night to get inventory in. And I want you to look at the hotspots. You see kind of where the eyes are drawn. Now, one of the funniest ones that I want you to look at is up here in the right-hand corner. This little section up here is one of the areas, sorry, that was my awful attempt at a circle there, is one of the most interesting areas because they're still looking for the escape. If you aren't getting this right, if you aren't saying the right things or getting things right, they're still looking for a means of escape. They always know that that search bar is up there and they can just lead away. But also look over here at the images. What I want you to notice are a couple of things is where they're drawn on this image stack and where they're looking. They're looking over here at the image stack. They're actually not looking at the copy, though I personally believe the copy is one of the most important parts of a listing because it's where you start thinking about how to speak to the shopper. And it's also SEO. For SEO, it's where you plant some SEO. And we do a lot of keyword density work over here. But the shopper, the person that you actually care about the most, more than the algorithm, because the algorithm's actually trying to track what the shopper is doing. So if you get what the shopper's doing, you're actually a long ways headed in the right direction towards what is going on for the algorithm as well. But what we noticed is they were drawn to these images. So what we want to do is really right out of the gate, we want to hit them with these images, because you're noticing this top one, the blob is a little bit more around this top image. That first image, the second image. So the first image is the main image, the one they already clicked on to get there. The second image is what we call the title image. And what we really want to do oftentimes with those is get a hook set nice and early with the shoppers so that we can start speaking. And I find, honestly, what works best in that situation is pain. Just talking about pain. It doesn't have to be pretty. This is actually a very ugly image, but it talks about pain. Still dealing with soggy scraps. And this is for compostable garbage bags. And it shows you the soggy scraps. The worst of all scenarios, the bag is breaking, everything, you're going to have a mess to clean up. And I found that really one of the best images to put right up here is talking about pain. You can then sort of go right after that. Over here, like this, you can do a side-by-side showing pain from double bagging to one and done. And I find that if I hit that pain just right, then the shopper buys after typing that keyword into the search. That's the magic. When that happens, I start ranking for that keyword. So the simple way to do SEO right is to first just start poking at pains. Are you still dealing with soggy scraps? And then hit them with that right away. So that's one way, but you can also go about it another way. Basically, you can do a confirmation bias. It shows what the buyers hope that they're to achieve. So one way that you can do this is like this. You can show them a confirmation bias. So this is about a lamp, a headlight for a bicycle, but this is aspirational. Because this is what they're hoping to achieve. They want to ride longer into the night, into the dark. And so that's one of the things that they're focused on. On the compostable bag, what they want to see is this, going from this ugly thing to having a composting experience where nothing breaks, so they can have a clean hands, clean bins, no leaks, and no more double bagging. And so we can do this kind of like us versus our average competitor. And you may be saying, yeah, but Sean, there's no SEO. And I'd say, well, that's absolutely fair. So we can just supercharge it with the actual keywords. So if you look at this, we just added keywords to that title image. Fully waterproof, super bright, 1800 lumen rechargeable bike headlight. And then we added some benefit language, lasts 4 hours on high beam. This is a confirmation. Adding keywords with your actual image changes things. The idea is that we're stacking emotions with our SEO. By adding SEO to your title image, this image right here, it increases the confirmation bias. You just confirmed to the shopper that this is indeed the product that they were looking for. A fully waterproof 1800 lumen bike headlight. That's probably what they typed in, or some combination of those phrases when they began their search on Amazon. And this title actually drove hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of sales for this one little bike lamp. And it actually proves a point that it's better to be clear than clever. Oftentimes that's the case. It's just better to be clear than to be clever, than to try and do some crafty thing. And so putting the title right there and showing the benefits, showing the emotions for why the people want to buy this product. It gives confirmation bias. So it's working on two paths. One is SEO. I type something into the search bar, and then the algorithm offers up some options. I click onto one of those. And if I buy after that, Amazon says, hey, there's a connection between this search term and this listing. They like it. We get our pick and pack fees, our referral fees, all those fees that the sellers hate to pay. We get them because this listing is doing a good job. And part of that is when we frame the SEO right into that title image, along with some benefit language. Hey, this lasts 4 hours on high beam. That's a long time I can ride at night. then what we get is the SEO and the purchase, and that sort of locks it in. So you're working on the human level and the algorithm level. And why this works is that Amazon perks up when it sees listings with high dwell time and low bounce rates. Again, we go back up to here. The funny thing is the shoppers are always looking for a means of escape. They're always thinking like, I don't know if this is going to work for me, if this isn't it. If they don't get caught early enough in that cycle with some pain, with some promise, with a solution, with some confirmation bias, then they're going to be out of there. But if they stay longer, if they have those visual benefits, we found they stay longer. Dwell time increases, and so does commitment bias, meaning I spend 10 seconds on this listing. Then I spent 30 seconds on this listing. Now I've spent 50 seconds and 1:20 and 2 minutes and 40 seconds. The longer I spend there versus any other listing, the more my commitment bias is. Locking together the SEO and the emotions together are really the combination that we've seen that works. And in fact, for Mountain Forest Botanicals, when we refreshed their visuals and wove a story into every image, their new product didn't just look like every other product. It actually started to tell a story. So like we did this, you can see there's SEO. Baby bump butter was actually part of the stuff. Stretch mark cream for pregnancy was the actual SEO we were going for, but we were showing sort of a product in use in all natural formula, a happy woman without stretch marks. And when we did that, what happened is we ended up earning #1 new release badge for them, 30 to 40K on a new launch, all by image-driven SEO. But images don't hit with the precision I need. So that's why I use this next tool, the Fact Fusion, because you may have noticed something that's been happening on Amazon listings recently, that Rufus is Amazon's AI. They call it Rufus because they love dogs. Amazon loves dogs. But Rufus recently took over the AI section. So if you're on listings, you may have seen something like this. This is Rufus. This is Amazon's AI taking over the Q&A, the question and answers section. And this for me, this is a pretty big deal because before Rufus, I actually spent years trying to hack the Q&A section of Amazon listings. And I did this because I found that over the years that Amazon really loves actual questions raised by real humans about products. Well, recently when Amazon took that away and gave the job to Rufus, it kind of made my insider hack die. It was dead. The sad part is I had to find some way to revive that Amazon hack. And this is how I did it. I take a peek at those questions right there that are offered up by Rufus. They're in the little blue buttons you see down here. Can it be used for gift wrapping? Is this ribbon biodegradable? Does it come with different lengths? Can it be used for outdoor decorations? Now, a silly question is, do you think those are random? In my decade on Amazon, I have not found much random about Amazon. Of course, besides their seller support, and no, I'm not going to trauma dump on you, but I could. These buttons right now, this is Rufus, is actually offering us a gift. Because, see, regardless of how awesome Amazon's algorithm is, I still found that it needs clear, structured text to best understand the products that I market on Amazon. So I want to feed Rufus exactly what it needs. And the tool I'm currently using is the FAQ section. Maybe you've seen this section, the frequently asked section on Amazon. It's my stealth SEO weapon on Amazon. And the reason is because you can deploy this in probably about 2 to 5 minutes. This is like really fast. You don't have to do design for this, but this is an A+ or a premium A+ feature that allows you to just add a FAQ module. And I affectionately call this new hack the FAQ Fusion. And what I am looking at here is this little matrix, this idea of how to put together the FAQ in a way to move me ahead with SEO by influencing Rufus in a particular way and having the Amazon algorithm work for me to my advantage. So the way I'm going to look at this is I'm going to mine specific listings. I can go onto my listing and I can go onto my competitors' listings as far as I want to, as many listings. I can just go right down here and look at what Rufus is saying and start to swipe up some of these questions. So what I'm going to do is essentially I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say, hey, I need to start asking some nice questions. Swipe up some of the questions. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to develop up a FAQ. I'm just going to, a question and answer, a series of them based off of what Rufus is saying over there, and do this in a specific way that is SEO driven, right? Whoop, I could do that. SEO, that was my horror SEO. So one of the ways that I'm going to do this is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to think up, hey, how can I develop up questions, specifically questions? So you can see, is this gifting ribbon biodegradable? So it literally just stole this. It said, is this ribbon biodegradable? You're going to see that right here. Is this ribbon biodegradable? Rufus has just given me something to work with. I don't need to be super magical about this. I don't need to conjure things up. I can literally just go with what has already been handed to me. I can modify it and say, is this gifting ribbon biodegradable? And so I've stuffed SEO value into the question right there in my fact section and come up with something that says, is this gifting ribbon biodegradable? And then I just go ahead and answer it. Literally what I'm going to do from that point on is say, oh yes, and it's made from neutral plant fibers that entirely break down, making it the perfect eco-friendly holiday ribbon for sustainable packaging. And when I do that, what I've essentially done is cheated into my Amazon listing some SEO, eco-friendly holiday ribbon. So I've done it in two places, gifting ribbon, right? And eco-friendly holiday ribbon. I've done it twice in two different areas that allow me to stick some SEO right onto my listing that the algorithm's going to look for it for SEO. Hey, this actually pertains to eco-friendly holiday ribbon. And Rufus is going to pick it up and then put it back to my shoppers and have an answer for them that I specifically gave them. I didn't allow this to be up to Amazon to figure this out. I gave them the information that I want by taking all of these things from out there. I'm going to create facts with them that have SEO in them, gifting ribbon, all of that kind of stuff. And I find that when written strategically to answer those top queries, I can naturally sell products. I mean, that's after all what the Q&A is for. It's actually to sell products. It's to overcome sales objections and get people closer to the add to cart button. But I can also still sneak in a healthy dose of SEO disguised as customer service. So I mine Rufus on my competitors' listings, my listings. I swipe up those questions in those blue bubbles up here like this, right? Then I go ahead and create, anywhere between 5 to 7 facts, and I focus on what will answer questions that my customers are interested in and also the SEO that I want to rank for. And essentially, I'm looking for those longer term keywords like this one, the eco-friendly holiday ribbon for sustainable packaging. And each answer should include at least one keyword or variation. And I weave in some persuasion too. I've noticed that I need to make answers that I'm doing in these fact sessions both informative and persuasive. So I'm going to turn features into benefits, right? For example, is the gifting ribbon biodegradable? Yes, it's made from natural plant fibers and entirely break down. So I'm already starting to speak that benefit language to people that are really concerned about the eco-friendly. And then what I do after that is I simply embed that into one of the Amazon modules. Now look, there's no design skills needed. I just select the fact block, this little fact block right over here, and Amazon will quietly index that while customers only see the conversion boosting copy. And this works because Amazon's crawler is still reading and indexing facts text. Even though Rufus handles the front end questions, those questions that I go ahead and pop in, facts still provide structured semantic context that supports the keyword indexing while boosting my conversion rates. So it does two things at once. It gets the sale and it also helps with SEO. So it's a perfect SEO sales hybrid. When you do this right, like we did for the YIP tag, you can stuff those keywords into any of these things like we did for iPhone dog tracking device. And you'll start to rank for them a little bit slowly. But sometimes I need to rank for stubborn keywords, and sadly this one won't work because Amazon doesn't give up stubborn keywords easily. And that's why I start to work with this next hack. So we've already gone over the SEO Canvas. We've gone over the Fact Fusion. This next one is the SEO Synergy hack. Now, honestly, it took me years to recognize the patterns. Regular reviews, helped with sales. Like that is the sort of like basics of what was going on, and they're super essential to conversions. But then over the years, I started to notice that shoppers often used very unique phrases in the reviews. Phrases that didn't appear in my search term reports or in tools like Helium 10 or Jungle Scout or any of those. One of the things I noticed is that we would start to rank for those phrases. Sorry, that's an awful arrow there, but we would start to rank for those phrases. So I'm specifically talking about reviews with keywords. And I began to realize that Amazon's clever algorithm was examining every detail of our carefully crafted content. And it actually seemed to, painful to me, seemed to overlook all the SEO cues that I was trying to put in there for these high value keywords, kind of like breadcrumbs. I was sitting on an SEO breadcrumb trail, which still works for a majority of keywords, but there are some keywords, stubborn keywords, that I wasn't getting until these buyers would actually put those keywords into their reviews. So they would actually start writing reviews with specific phrases, and those phrases ended up ranking on Amazon. And it's like every customer comment became a ranking signal. And I was irritated by this until I kind of started thinking, hey, I want to know if we could reverse engineer this phenomenon. Could we actually hack the reviews, legally, of course, to repurpose this SEO gold mine for our favor? And that's when SEO Synergy was born. And SEO Synergy essentially means intentionally seeding reviews with the exact keywords I want to associate with my target product. And I now do this with high intentionality because I finally learned that when real reviewers include specific phrases, Amazon treats them as super user verified proof. They give them extra weight because someone used them in a review. And I found them to be stronger than any SEO that I could write myself. So here's how I do this. I work with my clients to tap into their own networks. We're talking friends, family, freelancers that they hire, early customers, anyone who's genuinely purchased or can genuinely purchase a product. And I work with them to request a review of this product or to simply update their existing review. So if they left a review 6 months ago, a year ago, whatever, they can actually update their review. And the way I go about this is I just create a Loom video, which is one of the most simple videos you could create, and kind of tell our David versus Goliath story. We're a small brand taking on some big corporate giants, and we could really use your help, that kind of a thing. Then I explain how to take the keyword that we want to rank for, so that stubborn keyword that we're getting no traction for whatsoever, how we can take that keyword and really use it naturally in review language without stuffing. And I give them an example like this: compostable trash bag, fit my kitchen bin perfectly, totally leak proof. And when I do that, I can start ranking for this compostable trash bag. And I found that kind of simple ask, that simple Loom video ask, actually gets results. And here's why it works. Amazon's algorithm cross-references review wording by looking at specific phrases or looking for keywords. So you have keywords up here in the head of the review. And then, also if you can do some down in the body and stuff some keywords down in the body of the review, you get sort of that double whammy. And when those align, it provides double confirmation of relevance and pushes your listing higher for that keyword. So each review sort of becomes an SEO amplifier, multiplying your proof signals. So this resource, it has everything that I've been showing you today, plus more, and has checklists. So to make it all very systematic, something that you can do in minutes, holding up to my 8 minutes worth of Amazon SEO. And make sure you take advantage of it and follow the checklist in there, because I think that's really gonna help you. But now let's talk about being stuck. We've already covered the SEO Canvas, the Fact Fusion, the Synergy. Now we're gonna cover the Doppelganger. This came about because I was confused the first time one of my listings hit a ceiling. Basically, we got to the point of owning all the top spots for great keywords. And I remember being about to give up and go, well, I guess that's all there is for this listing. We've done all we can do. Until I actually heard a story from a textile manufacturer. This manufacturer was reaching out to me because he was tired of seeing his clients rake in millions of dollars on Amazon off of his hard work and his ingenuity and the way he made his textiles and all this kind of stuff. And he told me that a certain towel manufacturer owned all 7 spots on Amazon for each of the top keywords in the towel niche. Each. Let me kind of break this down, because I don't think this is as easily apparent as it first seems here. Let's just imagine this is the results from a keyword. Let's just talk any towel keyword that you might want to think about. Let's just say, Turkish towels or fuzzy towels or anything like that. He was basically saying that this manufacturer, no matter which keyword you typed in to the search bar, this keyword owned all of these, every single one of these 6, 7, owned every one of these top listings. Every single one of them. 7 of the top listings were all owned, for all the top keywords that mattered, were all owned by this manufacturer. And I was scratching my head when he showed me this, and I was like, I don't understand how this can be. I was pretty young in the business, and I'm like, I don't understand how he can do this, until he laid out this. He says, yeah, this guy basically launches new listings with the exact same product and competes against himself. What? My mind reeled at the audacity, the absolute belligerent boldness. But then I started thinking, well, could that work for the products that I was having problems with? And that's how the Doppelganger listing was born. Here's the basic part of the Doppelganger strategy. We create a doppelganger of a listing. So if I have one listing that this is our star player, this is the one that does well, but it's already topped out. There is nowhere else for it to go. There is no more up. It's already hit the ceiling. We just do what that guy did. We create a doppelganger and create a new listing. So this is the seed listing, and then we're going to slip around our SEO issues with a new listing. Now, in order to do this, we have to do it under a new ASIN. So that means on Amazon, ASIN is kind of like your SKU or your product identifier. It's Amazon's unique identifier. And what that means is I am creating a doppelganger listing, which is my same product with new creatives, new keywords, new targeting, and new unique UPC code. The reason you need to do this is all of this becomes super critical. Each one of these becomes super critical because you do not want Amazon making any kind of connection that these two things are tied. You do not want them being tied in any way. So this cannot happen. If you do this, Amazon is essentially going to derank or ignore or call you out on it and actually parent the one under the other and say you're selling identical. It'll go bad for you. So we have to decouple these essentially. That's why I have to be clear. This is not just duplication, it's diversification. And by launching a parallel version of your listing, you can unlock new keyword universes and restart Amazon's internal honeymoon period with your product. So I reuse the base product, the seed product over here. No need to reinvent the wheel there. You've already got that going. But I update the title. You're going to update the bullets. You're going to update the images. You're going to update the target keywords because, again, you're going for keywords you aren't ranking for currently. So go for a whole new SEO set. The biggest one is I update the UPC code. If Amazon sees anything that looks exactly like the title on this listing and on this listing, or the bullets on this listing and this listing, even images, because the Amazon AI algorithm is absolutely great now. It's sniffing out if images are being reused. So that's becoming a big thing. And that's where AI is becoming a little bit dangerous out there for certain people on Amazon. So we want to be careful. We have brand new images, a whole new image stack, top to bottom, not reusing anything, no copy being reused, no titles being reused, new keywords that we're trying to get for a target cluster of keywords. Then I also grab a fresh UPC code, GTIN UPC code, and upload this listing as a standalone ASIN, not a variation linked ASIN. It's going to be on its own outside of any other parent-child variations. I obsess treating this new ASIN like a new listing because I don't want Amazon to pick up on what I'm doing. So it's kind of like a CIA operation where each product is compartmentalized. New product identities, new wording, new pictures, no breadcrumbs leading from one to the other at all. I just want a fresh start. Essentially, it's a new product with its own runway on Amazon. And when I do that, essentially, I can just take on more spots on page one for my listings. But now I want to tell you about something so boring, you actually might be inclined to gloss over it. But let me tell you, there is actually gobs of free traffic hidden behind this next boring move. This next one is called the back-end traffic engine. My professional marketing career began at one of my earliest Amazon account management agencies, RIP MCM Management. But at that agency, there were three of us working, myself, Andrew Raymer, that would stay behind late on Fridays after all the normal work was done, and we'd participate in Amazon hackathons. One of our favorite activities during these hackathons was taking any underperforming listing, ones that were just kind of baffled by why they're not doing well, and filling out every single blank back end text field inside of Seller Central. I mean, every space that there was someplace you could type something in, we would type text into that blank field. And even if we weren't entirely sure what those blank fields were for, we made up premium keywords and guessed at themes. Like even for eyeliner, we guessed at themes. What is the theme for eyeliner anyways? I still wonder. But you know what? Those listings started to turn around. But sadly, some superstition resulted because we never knew for sure what it was that did the trick. And as the years went on, Amazon deleted many of those back-end fields or made them valid only for specific categories. For example, themes, where it began to be attached to only books, which is what they were really for in the first place. Duh, I guess. But one text field remained. Through 5 Seller Central iterations, that's to the best of my account, and that is your back-end search terms field. Basically, this is called your generic keywords. That's kind of what Amazon calls it today. Anyone inside the industry calls it your back-end search term. Currently, Amazon gives us 250 characters per field. Every time I see that, my mind goes back to those hackathon days. Right now, I use this section to dominate for untapped keywords. So here's the play. The rules: no commas, no repeats, no brand name. But I get creative with stuffing each field in this with some other stuff. I really look at things like misspellings, compostable, misspelled, water bottle, leak proof, use cases, home, compost, kitchen, cleanup, gym, travel, benefits, eco-safe, durable, zero waste. And when I run out of space, I can just click this little button that says add more and add another field. And I really do try and maximize the space. Often my team uses tools like Helium 10, Data Drive to identify keywords with medium traffic and low competition that we're just not yet ranking for. And those become my fodder for this space right here. And why this works is that Amazon's back-end fields are kind of like whisper channels to the algorithm. They tell Amazon which search results to test your listing in. Now, I actually have 2 more layers that are in this, but they take, honestly, a little bit longer. But if you're still interested in those, that Amazon SEO Secrets Black Book I mentioned has them all, and that link is in the description. However, one big mistake that I see people make is that they do all this work to get free traffic, and then fail to convert that traffic into sales. So I created a whole playlist to show you how to increase your sales with the traffic you're already getting. Click the first video on that playlist and I'll show you just how easy it all can be.